East Hampton Village Board, we are live.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to East Hampton Village Board's special meeting, June 5th, 2025 at 11 a.m. If we could stand for a pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag,
United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All right, first, I have an announcement. Tomorrow will be, is tomorrow? No, today's not Friday. Today's Thursday. So Saturday is our Pride Parade, our 4th annual Pride Parade, so hopefully everybody can turn up. It's supposed to be a nice day after all, I think, less chance of rain.
What time is it?
It starts at noon, so we're anticipating a pretty large crowd, so hopefully everybody can make it. Next, can we do roll call?
Mayor Jerry Larson.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Chris Minardi.
Here.
Trustee Sandra Melendez.
Here.
Trustee Carrie Doyle.
Here.
Trustee Sarah Amadon.
Here.
Administrator Marcos Balladrone has an excused absence. He's actually with us on Zoom.
Yeah, he's on Zoom, right?
And Village Attorney Lisa Perillo.
Who's not here, but Tim Hill.
Okay,
Tim is filling in for her.
okay, has an excused absence.
Great. Next, we're going to do a public hearing.
Introductory number 17 of 2025, a proposed local law amending Village of East Hampton Code, Chapter 267, Vehicles and Traffic, Section 267-15, Penalties for Offenses B, E, and F.
Great. Anybody like to be heard on this? Anybody from the board? All right.
Are we closing?
Yeah, let's
I make
close
a
it.
motion to close the hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, hearing is closed. So next, I asked the Garden Club to be here this morning and just address the board on this issue of the ivy that is fallen down. I think we have some photos of it in the little park that we have on Main Street that the Garden Club maintains for the village. So,
Yes.
welcome.
Okay, hi. So I'm Michelle Ullman, and I'm head of community gardens for the Garden Club. And as you all know, we have had a long history with Millstone Garden, and feel like it is really just a very beautiful, special oasis in the middle of the village and commercial district. And it is probably the most visited public garden in the village, and we take care of 10 to 12 different spaces, and so we're very devoted to it. And yes, we're hugely appreciative that you've already worked on the ivy, as we've seen, that you've cut it, and there's the picture of what happened in the storm. That I guess it was a combination of factors that made it fall over, but it is, from what we know, it's about 30 years old of growth that was on there. And, very unfortunate that the trellis fell over. But the side of the structure is just so unattractive that we feel it really, really would just destroy that beautiful space not to make every attempt to try to repair the ivy. So we can see that you've already cut it, and there's some wood supports holding it up now. And then, with time, it can grow taller again. And, we're just very appreciative that you're doing that.
Yeah, the reason I asked you to come is I really wanted to hear, and I wanted our board to hear, because it's a quite a large expense
Right.
to put it back up. And I know the Garden Club has done a great job, not only in this park, but all over the village, the train station and all the things that you maintain for the village.
Yes.
And we certainly appreciate that. But this is like a $60,000 expense, and I just wanted to make sure that it's something the Garden Club really wants.
Oh, well, well, we do. I mean, we feel like that if this were not there, that this green space would just be totally different. And, it's hard to walk by there and see it empty. In other words, you can walk by there at almost any time of the day, and there is someone or more than one person sitting in there and enjoying it. And we feel like it's a very, very important space for the community. And so, yes, we are, what we do is we have various work teams that take care of all the gardens. So we're very serious and dedicated to all the gardens that we take care of. And for Millstone, we have a team of 15 that goes over there every other week for 1 to 2 hours. And then we have an alternate team of individuals that go every week to water. So we do put quite a lot of time into maintaining this garden as well as all of the others
Right.
that we take care of because
Nature trail as well.
yeah, exactly. The nature trail, we've just installed all of the greenery for the pots at the new ER, which again, we feel we're honored to be able to do this for the community, but we also take it very seriously with our work teams and our manpower and feel that it's really important what we're doing.
All right. Well, thank you very
Can I ask
much.
a question?
Yeah, I was going to say, does the board have any questions?
So yes, we do appreciate everything the Garden Club does. I just have some questions. Would you constitute this as an emergency that we need to replace this?
Yes, because you've already picked it up off of the ground and the small bed that it had crushed. And so, we're, again, grateful you did this very, very quickly and a very nice job of getting it back up. It's now propped up with some wooden post or, a wooden framing to hold it back up. Yes, definitely an emergency situation from the storm. I guess the combination of the water and the weight pulled it over. So,
Replacing it with the trellis right now is an emergency action that needs to be taken?
yes.
Because just to contextualize, we have this emergency fund that a couple years ago, we had about $3 million in it, and now we only have $360,000 in it.
Okay.
And that's used for our comprehensive plan to replace roofs. God forbid there was a hurricane.
Right.
That's our fund. We have $360,000. So previously, the previous trellis was built by the Department of Public Works, Scott Fithian. So now, because it's constituted as an emergency, we're not putting it out to bid. We're just going to Ben Kropinski, who's given us this price of $61,000 for a trellis. So had it not been an emergency, we could send this out to bid and maybe it wouldn't cost our constituents that much money. Right now, we're very sensitive because this is the first year that our administration has raised taxes. So before we had a little more luxury with where we spent our money, but now that we're raising taxes, I think we have to be more thoughtful. So just want to confirm that the Garden Club thinks this is an emergency to build a trellis immediately, because I know we don't own the building that is adjacent.
So it's complicated with the side of the building.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, we think it's an emergency because it's so awful looking, the side of the building.
Isn't it awful looking though, partly because the ivy was there covering it for 30 years?
Yes, that is the reason that it was covered. Yes, exactly.
Right.
Apparently, from what I've understood, and this may not be accurate, but my understanding, I wasn't here 30 years ago when that space was used back then, but it was my understanding that initially it had some trees in the middle of the space and that the trees were removed because grass wouldn't go and that people really used it as a dog park and that no one was enjoying it or sitting in there. And I think along with the Garden Club, obviously since I'm representing them and Debbie Drucker, our president, that it would really, really be a shame to not have that space usable for people just to sit and enjoy while they're enjoying our village.
And I think the other issue that made it an emergency is that if we don't get the ivy back where it should be,
It's going to
we
die.
risk the chance of it dying.
Yes,
So-
exactly. And it looks like the way you've picked it up already, that the damage has been minimal. I mean, it does look like we may have to replant some of it. And again, we haven't looked at it carefully because we realize that, it's in process. But I think if you look at it from that standpoint, even though you're spending what you're spending to rebuild the trellis, you're probably coming out ahead rather than taking it all out, replanting, bidding it, doing another trellis.
Great. Anybody else?
Is there a reason, Marcos, that we didn't do the trellis, build it in-house?
I don't think we want to do that, is build it in-house. I think we want professionals to be able to build it properly.
Right. I agree with
And the other thing, too, to Trustee Doyle's point, is that, yes, this is the same account that we're utilizing, the assigned undesignated, but that exact fund is one that we replenish every year when we have surpluses. This year will be one of them. So we're going to probably do about another $1.5 million, close to that, in that's July board meeting. So that fund will be replenished again, as we do each year.
We also have another fund of $9 million that we have in reserve for emergencies. So.
And I actually live on Main Street, just as Sarah and Carrie know, not far from there. And so I am up and down that area multiple times a day. And honestly, I think if you just were to sit and listen to what people say as they're walking by, not only do people really enjoy the space, but even those that don't go into it, no one rarely walks by, doesn't turn their head and say, what a lovely space. And it would take years for that to grow back again. So yes, we support it being used as from the emergency fund, and appreciate your willingness to do that, because we have devoted a lot of energy into that space.
Great.
And I just want to be clear with the board. I'm sorry. It is being considered as an emergency expense so that we may act quickly to fix it. It's something that, our auditors obviously allow us to do. We use it very rarely, but when we do, it's for situations like this where time is of the essence, and, or else it could take months.
Right. Anybody else?
I had a question that I'm sure you might be able to answer, is how fast does ivy grow?
Well, to get the area covered the way it is, my guess it would take 5 to 7 years. I mean, what do you all think? What do you think, Sarah and Carrie? It would take a long time. And it's just so unattractive without it. I mean, it was definitely an integral part of the aesthetics when the design of that space was done, to have something cover that wall like that.
So does it grow a foot a year, a half a foot a year? I'm just trying, and this really is no bearing on it. I'm more curious on how fast does ivy grow? Is it a fast-growing plant, or is it a
I cannot tell you for sure, but I would think it might grow 6 to 8 inches, 6 inches a year, possibly, under great circumstances. And then to cover a wall like that, you have the unevenness. It grows in some places and not in others. And so it would really, really change the aesthetics of the garden if it came down and you started over. I think we're lucky that you've been able to save it the way you have.
Great. Anybody else? No? Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Thanks.
And I just want to say thank you, Michelle, because she's represents the garden club, but you're not a landscape architect.
No, so don't, yeah.
So,
Yeah, exactly.
so thank you for coming in.
Thank you. And thanks to the Garden Club for everything you do. It's really,
Well, it's an honor to do what we do for the village. Very much enjoy it.
yeah, I don't know what we would do without the Garden Club and the LVIS. So really,
You're both great.
Yeah.
Wonderful job.
And Historical Society, of course.
Yeah.
While we're complimenting everyone.
Guildhall.
Yeah, Guildhall, of course, and the library. I don't want to miss anyone.
I know, we're missing someone.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Michelle.
All right, so we'll go into resolutions.
Resolution number 208 of 2025, approve adoption of a home rule message request stating East Hampton Village's support for pending state legislation, New York State A 8502, New York State Senate 7945, which shall authorize the village to establish a demonstration program imposing monetary liability on the owner of a vehicle for failure to comply with posted maximum speed limits and providing for the repeal of such provisions upon expiration thereof, effective retroactively to May 23rd, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried. This is a huge piece of legislation, and I want to thank Assemblyman Tommy John Scavone and our Senator Anthony Palumbo for putting this legislation forward for us. Myself and Bill Manger, who's the mayor of Southampton Village, traveled up to Albany. We met with them, and they both agreed to do this for us. So this is huge legislation for us. It's for Southampton Village. We would be the first villages in the state of New York to be able to get this permission to issue tickets through the mail to the registered owner vehicles instead of what we have to do now. We can only issue speeding tickets to the driver of vehicles. So this is legislation similar to what New York City has in their school zones. And this would be a huge help for us to keep speeders and big trucks off our back roads, off our side roads. So this has been a work in progress that I've been working on the last 2 years with Fred Thiel and now with Assemblyman Tommy John Scavone. But this is actually moving forward. And what I would ask the community to do is write letters to your senator and to your assemblyman supporting this legislation. So that will help them get this through the assembly and get it through the Senate and hopefully get it onto the governor's desk by December. So, okay. Next.
Resolution number 209, approve $1,794.38 quote from Carpet One for labor and installation of a stairway runner at Village Hall.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried. This is the runner that was donated to us by Mariella Moeller, whose mom made this runner in 1951. Took her 2 years, right? 1951 to 1953. And it's just a beautiful runner that's going to go on their stairwell at Village Hall. So we thank her and her family for that donation.
Resolution number 210, approve $61,634.43 quote from Ben Kropinski Builders for an emergency repair and new installation of the trellis at Millstone Park to be paid from the assigned unappropriated fund balance.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? No? Okay.
No.
Next. Oh, I'm sorry. Passed and carried. Thank you.
Resolution number 211, approve the memorandum of agreement between the East Hampton Village and the East Hampton Village Police Benevolent Association for a 2-tour work schedule effective retroactively to May 13th, 2025.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried. Let's just a comment about this. This was a pilot program we did with the PD, with the police department. And this is a better schedule for the men and women who are in the police department. It's healthier, it's safer, and it's better for them and their families. But this costs the village an extra $40,000 a year to allow them to have this. And we did this, and we didn't ask for anything back because we just felt that this was better for them, and it was something that this village board decided to do, and we're proud of that. And I wanted to let the public know that we care about our employees, and if it's better for them, even if it costs us a little money, it's worth doing. So thank you all for voting on that. We did vote on it just now. Next.
Resolution number 212, approve employment of 2025 seasonal beach lifeguard staff at the rates and effective dates listed in Drew Smith's May 23rd, 2025 memo.
So
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed and carried.
Resolution number 213, adopt local law of 2025, introductory number 17 of 2025, a proposed local law amending Village of East Hampton Code, Chapter 267, Vehicles and Traffic, Section 267-15, Penalties for Offenses B, E, and F.
Second.
All in favor? Passed and carried.
Resolution number 214 of 2025, approve the $21,747.13 payout to Thomas Priato, retiring May 31st of 2025, to be paid on June 13th, 2025, from the general fund for accumulated time.
Second.
All in favor? Passed and carried. And that, correct, concludes our meeting. And I want to thank everybody for coming out. And hopefully we'll see you at the Pride Parade on Saturday. Thanks.